Good afternoon. It's good to see everyone finally in the game week preparation. Again, another learning experience for this football team of what it takes to prepare yourself on a day-to-day basis to be able to perform on game day. And so we've had a great start to the week, and it all starts today with a great day of preparation, playing a football team that we all know is a very, very talented, very good football team, very, very confident football team, and very deservingly so. They've won 25 of the last 33 games, 11-5 in their last 16 road games. Very well coached. Presents many challenges for you. First of all, offensively, we all understand what we're in store for with Chucky Keaton. He can make every throw from the quarterback position, but he adds a whole nother dynamic in terms of being able to run the football. Big, strong, physical up front, very, very skilled on the perimeter. We anticipate a lot of quick screens, a lot of bubble screens, quick touches as we refer to them. Very good running back core. And then defensively, they pose you so many challenges. First of all, schematically, it's a little bit different scheme than what you're used to preparing for. And very, very talented up front, very physical, run to the football, linebacker oriented in terms of their defensive structure, very, very talented. So again, it's going to be a great challenge. Returners, great punt returner. So we have to do a good job with all of our kick coverage teams. But, you know, I've said it and I'll continue to say it again, is the first games are the games of the unknown. And we probably have more unknowns than anyone else in the country. And how are your players going to respond? The overall discipline, the penalties, the mental penalties, which we've spoken about all at training camp, being assignment sound, lining up right, being able to execute, turnovers. You know, first games are usually the winner of the games, can manage the turnovers, not beat themselves, play well on special teams, and tackle. And, you know, being a good tackling team is going to be critical for us moving forward this entire year, but particularly in this game. And then our leadership. How will we respond to the adversities that a real game situation brings about? And I think lost in this whole thing, too, of the youth and inexperience is our ability to adapt and adjust with in-game adjustments on the sideline, but also at halftime. And our players being able to give feedback back to us as a coaching staff and understanding the little game nuances. I thought we took a step forward as a football team last week with our in-game management practice that we had, and it exposed a lot of little things of all the little details that can go on throughout a game, but it was a great teaching tool for us. So again, excited to get out there. I know our players are looking forward to it as well. Should be a tremendous environment. We need everyone. Being told that it's going to be a sellout. Tickets are very, very minimal. So you're not going to be able to walk up and get a ticket. So I would suggest getting the last of the tickets possible. And we're going to need to make Neyland a great home field advantage for us and moving forward. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
With your reliance on young players, particularly on defense, is there a concern about these guys maybe being overly eager at times?
Well, there is, you know, when we talk about your eye discipline all the time and see a little, see a lot with everything that you do and just do your job. You don't need to do anyone else's job. Just do your job. And that's the thing that we've been stressing all at training camp. And, you know, some of these individuals have played in games before, so they understand. And the new players need to rely on the older players in their preparation, you know, and you have to deserve victory. You have to invest in victory by your body of work leading up throughout the course of a week, from film study, the way you prepare your body, both mentally and physically, the reps that you gain in practice. Those are all critical. And, you know, that leads to execution on Saturday. But absolutely, John, that's one of the things you go into is the unknown, is how are these individuals really going to react when the scoreboard's on and it's for real and there are no do-overs, there are no reset buttons.
Considering how much time Kurt Legit has missed, what do you expect from him in the
Well, he's been back full practice now, so, you know, we'll move him around. We'll ask a lot of him, from playing an outside linebacker to being down. So he's back full go, and it's been great to see. And again, he adds a whole nother element to our defense, and we're going to need that. And that's, even though he hasn't played in a year, the leadership intangibles that he brings, the calmness, the energy level that he brings, now to have that on the field is going to be extremely beneficial for us defensively.
The three freshmen top of the depth chart, Wolf, Robertson, and
Barnett.
What did they do over training camp to kind of solidify their?
Well, it's a high level of consistency. We always talk about consistency and performance, and they've been mature beyond their years. They've handled the volume in terms of the mental part of it from the playbook, the work capacity, our style of play, being able to finish plays, and they've continually improved each and every practice, and they've earned that right, and I'm excited to see what they can do on Sunday.
What did Nick do to kind of emerge to win the punt returner job?
Just again, it sounds like it's the word you hear over and over again, but great players have it, consistency. He's been consistent every time he's gone back. He consistently catches the football, and I still say it. I think that's one of the hardest skills in all of sport is to catch a punt, with, 40 yards over a 4-second hang time and 9-10 guys running down to try to tackle you. In the concentration that's involved to be able to catch that punt, making good decisions with the football. And so he's just had a very high level of consistency each and every day.
Do you think your kicking job could ultimately just come down to maybe pregame warm-ups as to who opens as a kicker?
Yes. We're not anywhere where we need to be in terms of naming a starting kicker. I think both kickers, talent-wise, have the talent to kick at a very high level. Again, that word again, consistency in all that we do. And, one day George has a great day, the next day Aaron has a great day. And so we're looking to see who can put a number of good days back to back, but they're both very, very capable of that. And also it's the kickoff, ball placement, hang time, allowing your kick coverage teams to get down the field. But they have the ability. It's just the overall level of consistency.
Which, if you open in a nickel, would it be Mosley or Williams at that other corner?
Right now, we'll wait and see. Both of them are basically 1A and 1B. And we're going to let them, again, competitively sort it out this week of preparation.
With Sutton, that punt returner, how much is that also a testament to your comfort level and increased depth in the secondary, whereas you didn't have that a year ago?
Right. Well, it is. Anytime you put back your starting corner, you worry about, first of all, ball security, which he's done a tremendous job with, but also, depth. And I think the addition of some of the younger players, some quite aren't game ready yet. They will be. And I think that's the thing as we continue to evolve with this football team, is there's some individuals that may not be ready to play in this game, but they may be ready by game 2, game 3, game 4. Every individual develops at their own different pace, their own different speed. But that does have a little bit of a part in that in terms of the overall depth now that we have in the back end of our defense.
You referenced the unknowns about this team, and I know you had the Beanie Bowl, I guess, on Saturday night. What are some of the other things you do this week to try and manufacture situations that will get your youth, I guess, as tested as possible before kickoff?
Well, you can imagine anything and everything from our style of play. Every meeting rep, every mental rep is critical. And again, it's the game of the unknowns. And when you have a veteran team, Utah State's going to come out. They're going to give us something that we haven't seen on video, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. Those are the nuances of playing in first games. And when you have a veteran team, they can usually adapt and adjust right away. And that's one of the concerns. So, we've prepared for everything And so, again, we'll have some new wrinkles in our offensive system and our defensive system, too. And it just comes down to execution. First of all, we have to be able to control the controllables. That's our effort, being assignment sound, simple alignments. If you're 1 yard off your stem of where you align can be the difference between winning that rep and losing that rep. Just the overall discipline, making good decisions. Again, tackling, running through the thigh board, keeping your eye on the quads, all those things that we stress in being a great tackling football team. So everything, you try to put your players in every game-like situation that can present itself. But again, we won't know until game day and how they respond. I'll have a little bit more of a feel for this football team once we go through a game, go through a week of preparation. How do we handle the distractions of Boomsday? How do we handle the distraction of being at the team hotel? And I think that's one of the benefits in trying to prepare this football team is spending 8 days at the team hotel was absolutely critical for us, not just from rest and recovery and kind of having a training camp feel, but also them getting accustomed to the hotel as well. So everything we do has a purpose.
To borrow your phrase, one of your phrases, how do you balance making sure they're prepped for every situation, but not tying up their feet with cluttering their mind with too much to worry
That's
about
right.
specific situations?
The KISS principle and keeping it simple. And you're exactly right. Sometimes as a coach, you can overload them with information. So again, our meetings have to be clear, clean, concise, and direct. That's the messaging. You know, they can't be in real long meetings. Our practices this week, again, will be crisp, they'll be clean. And you just have to chip away at it. In today's world, for us, it's a Monday practice. And so that's the way you look at it. And I've really guarded against that with our coaching staff. And just let's keep the messages simple each and every day and build up to game day. So that is a component that you have to take into consideration.
Butch, since naming Justin, has he continued to meet your expectations and maybe exceeded them heading into the opener with Utah State?
Yes, Justin has met our expectations, and he's really taken on a leadership role. I've seen him be even more vocal, and the great thing about it is Nate Peterman and Josh Dobbs have not changed one bit either. They're still pushing them. They're still communicating. They're still trying to improve on a daily basis. So it's been great to see, that overall position group has not been phased one way or the other who the starter is. They know they're one snap away. Don't ask me who the number 2 quarterback is. I know that's the next question that's coming up. It'll be by game. The great thing is we have some different packages for both players if need be. And that'll be a game-time decision as well, and an in-game decision.
How did Pick Howard work his way to the top of the depth chart, especially after missing spring?
Well, I think it's an overall work ethic. We spoke about it at the beginning of camp. First of all, I thought he changed his whole body makeup, his whole body structure. He was in the best shape that he's ever been in his career here, and it showed. And again, consistency each and every day. He brought it every day, and he didn't say 2 words. Just kept working and working and working. So he earned that role by his body of work, starting practice 1 in training camp, and he's been one of our playmakers. The other thing is his overall knowledge of the offense. We now have the luxury of being able to move him around, put him into the boundary, put him into the field, put him into the slot. You'll even see him at times in the backfield with certain things. So again, I think the overall understanding of our offense has also benefited him as well.
Which so much is made now of the 5 power conferences. Do you think the players, even though you talk about how good a team, a particular team like Utah State might be, that they're, in general, they're perceived as, well, they're not as good because they aren't from a Power 5 conference. Is that something that concerns you at all, that maybe that would seep in with the players?
Well, absolutely, because I know that all too well, being at Central Michigan, and there's great football players. And I think all you have to do is you have to look at the body of work over a long period of time of what's gone on at Utah State. And they've done a tremendous job. And all you have to do is put the film on. You see a very, very well-coached football team. You see a confident football team, and you see a capable football team. They have some great players, and they have players that will play in the National Football League for a very, very long period of time. You look at last year, the amount of players they lost to graduation to the National Football League. So all you have to do is put their film on, and if you know anything about football, you say, this is a really, really good football team. You look at the confidence, and then you look at the 8 games that they've lost, they've all been very, very close football games. So when you look at the body of work, you look at, you break down every position, they're a very, very, very good football team. And they've done a great job of recruiting, and they've done a great job of developing their talent.
When you show the players that filmed Utah State, do you kind of emphasize some of maybe their games against me?
Oh, yeah, but our players understand. They know good football players, and they see it. I think the other thing is they have a bunch of veteran players. Even though they had to replace a lot of players in the offensive line and at some other key positions, they're replacing them with veteran players. We haven't had that luxury. We're replacing players with freshmen. And so, that's the mark of when you have a program, is when you graduate, the next person steps up and he's gained valuable experience, maybe on special teams or playing in a part-time role. Now they work their way into a full-time role. And that's what they've been able to do. So even though they've lost some great players, they've had players in the program pay their dues. They've learned from great players before them that have been ahead of them, and they understand. And that's what great programs do, is they learn from each other. And when you have that culture in place, that mindset, you just keep building it every day, and that's what we'll get to around here.
Coach, you referenced the freshmen that made their way to the top of the depth chart positions, getting better every day in camp. Is that uncommon for kids when they first come in? I mean, generally you see guys hit a wall and then progress stops for 2 or 3 days. You got to kind of get them back up.
Yeah, you do have your training camp lulls or where they hit a wall. And that's the one thing about, Ethan, Derek, they have not really hit that wall. They've been fairly consistent with everything that they've done. They've done a good job that way. And again, that happens to even older players, let alone younger players. And again, everything is happening so fast for these kids. From now they're in school. They have 15 credit hours. They have study table. It's managing your time. It's the clutter and distractions. All that goes into that. And again, I said it at SEC Media Day, we have to jump the learning curve in a hurry. And now we have to jump it in a hurry playing a very, very talented football team that's a veteran football team in Utah State.
And because you have so many young kids, freshmen, will you maybe drag it out a little bit more before you kind of cut it down and say, this is our 2D? And,
Well, that 2 deep will be ongoing, because, like I said, there may be some individuals that aren't quite ready yet, but they'll be ready week 2, week 3, week 4. We just have to keep progressing along, and that's when I talk about the process. This isn't just add water football team. We're going to continue to develop each and every day because of our youth and inexperience. So you're going to see players that maybe we're not even speaking about right now, that maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road we're speaking about. And you're probably asking the question, well, where did they come from? And we just have to put our heads down and just keep developing each and every day.
But you look at your depth chart and all the youth that is there. Is that almost a good news, bad news? Good news, you got a lot of really good young players. Bad news, you got too many young players on your depth chart.
Well, it's exciting because I think it's the future of Tennessee football. And this football team is going to be intact for many years to come. And along with that, you suffer growing pains. But also, they're very talented. And so there's a difference between just having returners and experience and being talented. And, a lot of people say you take talent over experience, but you need to benefit from that experience. That's why the experience of the older players that we do have, they have to help the younger players through that. And I think that's what makes it exciting, is we get to raise this football team as Vol Nation. They're going to continually see them grow up. But veteran teams allow you to do so much schematically. They allow you to make quick in-game adjustments. They know your systems inside and out. So there's many challenges that are presented. But I know this football team is eager. They're full of energy. They want to be led, and they're hungry. And I like that in our football team.
But your defense struggled last year against running mobile quarterbacks. As you get ready to face one, you feel like this defense is better suited?
We'll find out in a hurry. I'd like to think we're much more athletic on the defensive side of the ball. We've improved our team speed, but to simulate Chucky Keaton in practice is a challenge in and of itself. So we'll find out in a hurry come Sunday night how far we've progressed and where we need to make improvements as we move forward.
On the scout team, who will emulate Chucky?
It'll be a mix of all of our quarterbacks. It'll be Josh Dobbs at times. You may even see Evan Berry back there. You may even see Alton Howard, because we do have, the great thing is we have a Josh Dobbs package, with a lot of things that they do. You know, we have an Alton Howard package as well. So again, there'll be some carryover where we're not inventing anything new. There'll still be a learning curve because we have that stuff in our offense. So we'll be able to balance that as we go throughout the course of the week.
Which when you were in Central Michigan or even in Cincinnati, did you like playing teams that supposedly, programs that supposedly had more tradition and more high profile type programs?
Absolutely. You know, it's a chance for your players to prove themselves, to prove that they deserve to play on this stage. You get excited. These are great opportunities. So absolutely, when we were at especially Central Michigan, we really relished this opportunity. You know, it's an opportunity, you know, we tell everyone back at Central Michigan to put us on the map. You know, it's an opportunity to really show what we have there. And we had a 2-game winning streak versus the Big Ten when we were at Central Michigan. And our players, you know, look forward to that. We understand, and it's trying to teach our players, you're going to get everyone's A game when they come into Neyland Stadium. You know, to have the opportunity to compete in a historic venue like Neyland, in a great venue, you're going to get everyone's best game.
Coach, is there any kind of, you've been on the other side of it, is there a shock factor when teams that aren't used to playing in this kind of crowd, when they first get in, can that help you jump out on top of the first, second quarter?
You know, I don't know. I'm worried about the shock value of our team. You know, a lot of these individuals haven't performed. You know, that's why the open practice was monumental. That's why our fans coming out and supporting us was monumental. And when you hear them say, boy, that's the largest crowd I ever played in front of, 40,000. And I told you a couple weeks ago, I'm thinking, well, that's not even half of what you're going to be playing in front of. So I'm more concerned with how our players respond and not getting all caught up in you know, in the emotions of a game. That's what I say is, you know, I don't ever want a football team that plays on emotion. Emotion goes highs and lows. You know, there's peaks and there's valleys. I want a straight line football team that plays with passion and energy. And there's a difference between passion and energy and emotion. I don't like emotional football teams because they're up and they're down. They're on that roller coaster. I just want a team that just straight lined, you know, handles the task at hand and gets better each and every day.
Were there any particular players that you were like, okay, thank God we had this open practice. They got those jitters out of their system.
Oh yeah, you could see it. And you know, we tried to make it as chaotic as possible with crowd noise and every imaginable situation and sudden changes and how they embrace it and, you know, trying to create that stress level. Oh yeah, that was probably the most intense Beanie Bowl we've ever had, but we needed to do that for a purpose.
Butch, when you signed Dylan Bates, was there any question about where you might play him since he's such a good athlete and seemingly has the speed to play safety as well?
No, he's a linebacker. You know, being a great linebacker is so much about instincts and finding the football. And the great linebackers, they just have a knack of finding the football. You know, A.J. Johnson's a great illustration of that. He has great instincts. And Dylan Bates is one of those individuals as well. He's just, again, going through everything and not only learning the defensive schemes, but all the special team schemes as well.
Where are you at this point as far as the black stripes off the helmets? Because it was 9 the last time I counted. Where is it right now?
We're still at 9. And our older players and our players staff have done a great job of not succumbing to the standards and the expectations, the culture that we have in place. Now, I don't want anybody to be alarmed. They won't play with black stripes. But when we go back to practice, they'll have their black stripes on. But again, when they earn it, and our players staff have done a great job of even communicating to some of the players, you're this close to getting your black stripe taken off.
Has AJ forgot about Dylan Bates, or do they still know he has his stripe on?
It's called tough love. And the great thing, again, is watching AJ, wherever AJ sits in Smokies, our cafeteria, and when we get that all done, I may even invite the media to come have lunch with us, because you talk about a tremendous advantage for our players and the part of the nutrition and recovery that we talk about. But whenever we go down to Smokies, I like to see where the kids are sitting. And usually where AJ's sitting, you can find Dylan Bates as well.
Anything else, guys? Have you named captains for Sunday?
No, our players staff, we do game day captains, and one of the rewarding things we do at the end of the week is I'll meet with our players, staff, and then they vote on who should represent Tennessee out at midfield. And so one of the new things we will do is the player of the game on special teams will be a captain for the following week, so I can let you know who that is. The other thing I wanted to make sure I expressed today is it's an unusual day for us in terms of classes, so there'll only be 2 players available today, but when we get back to a regular routine of the press conferences, then there'll be more players available. But as you know, academics are first and foremost. So we're not dodging you.
Is it any more motivational for your defense that Chucky Keaton is a Heisman candidate?
Well, we know he's a great player, but again, if you can't get excited and motivated to play the first game of the year, then why are you doing this? You work. That's the thing about football that makes it different is it's a year-round job. And you work exceptionally hard for 12 opportunities that are given to you, working to get to 13, working to get to 14, and then more after that with the college football playoff. So there can be no off days in college football. One bad day takes you away from all your dreams, goals, and aspirations. So you put so much training into the start of a season. But again, I've said it is for this football team, that power of one, we have to continue to get better and better and better game in and game out. And our style of play has to continue to improve. You could see last year we started exceptionally well, and then we had a taper, and then we picked it up in a taper. We can't have this with this football team. We have to continue to improve and get better, and that's part of the culture. That's part of the expectations that we now have in place. And a lot of these individuals, again, they're experiencing it for the first time. So for us as a coaching staff, we need to stay calm. We need to stay poised. We need to just continue to have that focus that we talk about, that bullseye focus each and every day.
All right, thanks,
All right,
everyone.
thank you.